Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me at greatsonographers.com. I am so excited to bring Joanna Hall into this conversation that I'm having today. This is our third part in our three-part series. I hope you watched the last two and got some great information. I know you did if you watched it. And so I just wanted to bring Joanna on one more time and have our little finale here and really talk about another aspect of ergonomics. Joanna Hall is actually a beautiful person inside and out. I've learned so much from you, Joanna. She is a peer-reviewed author. She started her own company called UltraSafe Ultrasound, and she has pioneered ergomechanics and soft tissue recovery. And she has so much information to share with us. One hour, one day is not enough. We can talk about this for forever, right? There's so much information. So we're just going to basically touch and go, and hopefully we can, in the future, we can get into more in-depth. But I just wanted to introduce ergonomics and biomechanics because I think this is such an important topic. I'm a registered cardiac sonographer, and I have been for the last 10 years. And I've been in a lot of pain. And so that is why I have Ms. Hall here, because I did some research and I found her, and I think she has some great information to share with us. So this is Ms. Joanna Hall. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into our talk today.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here with you and just really empower some great sonographers, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm credentialed in abdomen, obstetrics and gynecology and vascular. I'm a peer-reviewed author, and I had the absolute pleasure of founding UltraSafe Ultrasounds, where our mission and vision is to achieve safety in sonography, building the bridge for safety in sonography. And we do that as an industry, right? We all have to grab a brick to be able to have a strong foundation to build this bridge, and there's two sides of it. There's the employer side and there's the employee side. And so we want to be able to create really great and effective communication, because both are dramatically affected when it comes to injury prevention and exposure in diagnostic ultrasound.
Awesome. So I just want to touch on, we've talked about a lot of things. Just lastly, I wanted to just touch on, how do we sonographers, how do we save a life today? Like, how do we reach out to the sonographers out here watching, and how do we save our life today?
I love that question. That's a power pack question. How to save a life today? Well, I'm going to tell you, Lisa, we're all in the life-saving business, right? I don't know about you, but as I was like crying over my flashcards, that thank God I laminated them so they could just roll right off and I could keep studying from my boards. I had to do it with a heart to serve. I wanted to save a life, and did not realize along the way that my life would be so dramatically impacted, making that transition from being a healthcare provider to being a patient, secondary to a work-related musculoskeletal injury. So I would say the best way to save a life today is to look in the mirror and know that yours is so valuable that in order to save other lives, you got to take care of yourself first, and know that your life is prominent and important and productive. And the best way to do that is to prioritize it, prioritize yourself and your safety, so that you can continue to be an essential healthcare provider.
Awesome. Amen to that. So you touched on, you were actually injured, and so you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I just wanted to ask, since you've been through it, can we recover from an injury, or can we recover from surgery and be able to go on with life? Like, talk to us about that.
I love that question. And I am going to share a little bit of my story just so that you guys can see where I've been versus what I had to go through versus me being able to sit here with you today with just joy in my heart and so much optimism for our industry going forward. So as I was a student, like most students, we get that like quick watch your ergonomics pep talk in lab. But I had nothing to ground that in, nothing to go, okay, this is what that means, make sure you stretch out your shoulder, make sure you watch your ergonomics. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I know that the aorta has three vessels, 3 layers of the muscle. And so I could talk to you about sonography and anatomy and pathophysiology and all those things all day, but I had no cognitive awareness, education, or empowerment on how ergonomics was going to drastically affect my life. And so as I went through my own injury, and this was just less than 2 years in bedside scanning as a credentialed sonographer, I started feeling that tweak in my shoulder. I started having trouble with my respirations. I would take a deep breath in and everything around my collarbone was really starting to hurt. I started developing this clicking, and I was getting to a very defeated place because everything that I had worked for, the time, the money, the dedication, to be able to be a sonographer, I felt like it was slipping right out of my hands because I could not scan without being in symptomatic pain. I couldn't even take a breath in. And so now I'm just wondering, like, how much time do I have between patients to ice? And, is there a thoracentesis or procedure that I'm going to be holding a static position in for a long period of time where I'm not going to be able to move? And I got to tell you, once I had another child and I was nursing and I could not support the weight of her head on my arm, I was done. I was depressed. I was crying. I was just like, I didn't know that taking care of my patients was going to mean I can't take care of my baby. And so then became how do I take care of myself? How do I come back from this? Because this is not the end. This can't be not for me. I got all kinds of life to live, and it's not going to end because I apparently don't have a right upper extremity anymore. So then becomes the journey of orthopedics and MRIs and physical therapy and cortisone injection shots and all of, do you get surgery? Do you not get surgery? Do you let the doctor completely tear your partial tear in your rotator cuff muscle, or do you wait for the whole thing to clear rip off? They're really life-altering decisions that don't just affect the sonographer, but their family as well. And so in my journey, I opted to just continue to do what most of us do. I walk around with a bag of NSAIDs, and you always know when I was coming because you could hear my jingle of all the NSAIDs in my bag. And just, take them as I go to be able to get through the day. And realize that I was just starting to live a life that was in no way reflective or representative of the life before scanning or the life that I wanted going forward. And so, I kept scanning through pain and using all the medical interventions that I could until the pandemic hit. And darling, I have to tell you, once we had another thing to account for, which was social distance, there's no social distance in sonography. So at that point, it became extraordinarily heavy on me that, Joanna, you just have to do something because you're looking for the resources and you're sending the emails and you're barking up all the trees looking for support from those who should be there to support you. And it's just like cricket. And so I founded Ultra Safe Ultrasounds with the very clear vision of achieving safety in sonography, not just through infection control, but through injury prevention. And in doing that, I scraped the internet, Lisa, for every
Yeah.
piece of peer-reviewed literature that I could find on
Yeah.
the body, on ultrasound, on
Yeah.
sonography, research. I mean, I spent months
Yeah.
just scraping the internet. Once I did that, it took another couple of months for me to produce the white paper, which was
Yeah.
the sonographer specific work related musculoskeletal soft tissue recovery offensive playbook,
Yeah.
which is
Wow.
basically all the things that everybody had been looking for. What
Yeah.
does the literature, research, and data say to support what sonographers are enduring
Right.
diagnostic ultrasound? And
Right.
once I was able to write that out, and once I had a cognitive understanding on what my body had been trying to tell me for years that I
Right.
had no words to
Yeah.
apply, I became empowered. I was like, ooh,
Yes.
I cannot unlearn that. And
Yeah.
in doing that, I was able to take control over what I'm putting in my body that is promoting inflammation.
Right.
The time that I now take, I don't ask for time to stretch between my patients. I'm taking it. And
Right.
obviously, that's not for every exam. If you're doing a
Right.
fast scan and you're just quick
Right.
looking at 4 quadrants, go do your next exam. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. But
Yeah.
if you're holding down, applied pressure in the lower quadrant because you're trying to sclerose a pseudo aneurysm and you're holding it down for 20 minutes, just holding in this static position and maintaining it,
Right.
yeah, you better believe that
Exactly.
your tissue is gonna have some toxicity going on in there.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean you injured it, doesn't mean it's inflamed. It means that there's
Right.
biochemicals that are still
Right.
gonna be released in your body that you have.
Yeah.
The NSAID is not gonna help,
Right.
you
Oh
know?
my gosh, that's like a rabbit hole in it of itself, all the
Girl,
toxins that build
absolutely.
up, when you
But
and we just see it as pain, or we feel it as pain, but what is going on muscularly, inside your
exactly.
body is very important to know,
Very
you know?
important. And so in my journey, I've just been able to really just stay the course and be able to take this great information that took months and years to be able to really understand in a way that is applicable.
Yeah.
And now I'm shouting it to the rooftops. We can stay safe in sonography. It is not,
Yes,
this is just
absolutely.
what to expect when you're in the industry. Without the proper
Yeah.
resources, without
Right.
education, without empowerment, yeah, you
Right.
can expect that because the body is going to do what the body is going to do. But
Exactly.
it's not a death sentence, and you don't have to get injured and you don't have to
Yes,
stay injured. There is freedom
absolutely.
from it.
That's awesome. That's awesome to know. So with saying all that, I wanted to ask you, how do we approach our employers in this issue, and how do we, implement solutions for our workplace? Because that's probably the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues that we probably have, because nobody cares. Your employer is probably like, whatever, or they just don't know. Maybe they don't understand. So how do we approach them and implement solutions?
I love that you brought that up because truly sonographers and most healthcare providers, we want to be seen as valuable, right? And if
Right.
you are a diva or if you're complaining,
Yeah.
typically that's going to pollute the well, and maybe
Yeah.
your leadership will not see you as valuable. As a matter of fact, maybe they're
Right.
going to see you as the exact opposite. And so
Right.
there's already a fear right there established when it
Yeah.
comes to going to your employer for support. And
Yeah.
so I would say, first and foremost, don't be afraid to prioritize yourself and your health. It's just
Yeah.
one of the things we have to eradicate in sonography is silence in
Yeah.
sonography. Silence is agreement. So
Yeah.
first and foremost, the silence thing is not working. Okay. We
Yeah.
have to be able to speak up and advocate for ourselves, but that's
Yeah.
not easy to do. And I can appreciate
Right.
that. So that is why we have developed, and we've developed our resources and recommendations with the help of experts all across the industry to be able to take resources to your employer to say, hey, listen, this is what the data says. This is what the
Right.
literature says. These are
Right.
what the recommendations are. And
Right.
then you have an ally in ultrasafe
Yeah.
ultrasound. You don't have to just walk into HR on your own and be the lone wolf who's like, I can't scan 26 patients a day.
Exactly.
It's just,
Exactly.
it's not that I can't, it's not that I won't, it's that I
Right.
physically
Can't
can't do that. And then
not do
here's
it.
why. Here's that how that affects patient care. Here's how that affects
Right.
provider care. Here's how that
Right.
affects practice well-being.
Right.
And you have to make it personal for them. So
Right.
and at the end of the day, nothing is more personal than a legal responsibility. And when you
Right.
think about Section 5 in the duty clause for OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, it is the legal responsibility. And here's the kicker of both the employer and the employee, both of you, both of us are responsible for optimizing and creating a safe and healthful workplace that is free from recognized hazards. That's the big thing. If those hazards have been recognized, then that's where that due diligence really comes in. So being able to express those things to an employer, not in a threatening way, but in a way that really lets them know this is how we achieve safety. There are protocols and policies in place. If we were to utilize them, I believe that we would be able to be more productive for our patients and make sure we provide better patient care.
Absolutely.
And we need to optimize provider care because burnout is a real thing.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
you just continue to show up. Maybe you're forcing your body to do it. But again, mind, body, and spirit, we are a human. And so even your mind eventually is going to tell you, I'm done.
Absolutely. And that's so true. I think that, I always hear comments of like patients or just anybody. They're like, oh, all you do is sit and scan. Like you're not doing anything with your body and it's like, no, like it is a full body experience when you're scanning because you're using every part. Right. And so, it is kind of, some people can be intimidated to go to their employer and speak to them because like you said, you want to be valuable and you don't want people to think that you can't work, right? But you also cannot do 20 echoes a day or some insane amount of number of procedures a day. There has to be a give and take. And so that's good to know that there's a legal way that you can actually approach your employer and have some backing, right, into protecting yourself, protecting your body. So thank you for that information. So lastly, what is the most immediate action we can take today or soon enough to where, we can implement what we've learned?
I love that. I would say the first immediate action you can take today is to know that you are a valuable healthcare provider, no matter how many patients you were able to scan that day, no matter, what your body may be feeling. If you showing up for your patients and for your doctors, you are valuable. And if you feel like you can't show up that day, that takes nothing away from your value. And so I would say the most immediate action we can do is give ourselves grace. Give ourselves permission to know that we matter and that our safety is important.
Right.
And once we allow the mindset to kick in of who we truly are in the healthcare field, and I think sonographers really should just be mid-level healthcare practitioners, to tell you the truth. We work so closely with so many different providers in so many different realms. We are truly a mid-level practitioner. So I want all sonographers and the students as well to know that you are an extraordinary and gifted and essential part of the healthcare team. And a person. You're a person before you became a healthcare provider. So when you wake up, just know that you woke up. That's a great thing. Have some time to be able to set yourself up for your day. You know, sometimes how we start our day in the morning can truly set us up for the rest of the day. Have you given yourself time to meditate in the morning? Have you given yourself time to, you know, just internally center yourself? Or have you woken up, gone for your phone, checked your email, and already gone through your whole day? And you haven't even gotten out of bed.
Yeah, exactly.
So how you start your day is going to be, I think, one of the most important things that we can do. And knowing that, having that mindfulness to give ourselves grace as we start our days and as we go through them, to know that we are 100% valuable and we deserve the time that we need to stay safe.
Yeah. And also I would add in, you know, having some kind of workout routine or exercise routine to really get your muscle blood flowing. And then also, if you listen to the last 2 sessions that we did, you know, really kind of dive into the major muscles that make up our rotator cuff, you know, and find some great exercise. You can go on YouTube, and there's so many exercises to show how you can stretch and be flexible with your body, because like Joanna said, you know, there's so much that can be built up in our bodies that restrain our flexibility or our mobility. And instead of freaking out and thinking that you may need surgery, it just may be, you know, you need a massage, or you need to work out, or just meditate and be more mindful of what you're doing. So that's awesome.
100%. Well, what I like to say, and I have a session coming up in Las Vegas in September. It's going to be an incredible conference. Is to take your me time, right? So capital M, capital E, time. And that M is very much about meditation, mindfulness, motivation. What's motivating you to even get up that day? Hone in on that, you know? And that E is going to be ergonomics and exercise and environment. And make sure you are taking me time first and foremost. And if you could sprinkle some of that between, you know, your patients and throughout the day, absolutely. But make sure that you are taking time to listen to your body. And like Lisa said, and like we've chatted on, there's so many videos and ways that you can find resources on our learning platform, the videos that we created, because Lisa, we did exactly that. We went on YouTube and found a lot of really great information and a lot of content that's up on our learning platform. But we saw that nothing existed that honed in on sonographer shoulder. And so we created very specific stretching and strengthening videos that can guide you through that. Okay, here's what it looks like to make sure that your scapula is stable. Why does that matter? What's attached to your scapula, you know? And so we'll go on what are different internal rotation exercises do and what muscles does that affect? Same thing for external. So so many great ways that we can utilize the resources that are available, which now we have a lot more of for sonographers, and it's so incredible and exciting to be able to say those things.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Joanna Hall. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you and getting all this great information. I've learned so much, and I'm continuing to learn. And you know, it's been great just hearing from you. And I definitely will be taking what you have taught me and applying it back to my life. And you know, I hope that the great sonographers out there that are watching this, I hope you guys take this and really learn and understand your body, and figure out what works for you, and really take care of yourself, because you're all you got, you know, and we need you. We need you in our industry. We need cardiac sonographers. We need all of us to work and help our patients and our doctors. So thank you so much again. Where can they find you, and if they want to connect with some of your information that you have?
Yeah, well, Lisa, first I want to thank you for having me and for creating these really important videos and this great series
Yes.
so that sonographers are equipped and empowered with some
Yeah.
really important tools that are going to keep them safe in the industry, whether they're just making their way in, whether they've
Yeah.
been around for a while,
Yeah.
or wherever they may be. So thank you
You're
for
welcome.
taking the time to do this and for helping
Absolutely.
to increase awareness. That's part of what all sonographers can do, is
Yeah.
help to increase awareness on what it is that we're going through, because
Right.
ultrasound is a pretty misunderstood modality that
Absolutely.
folks don't know what we're doing. They're like, are you a
Exactly.
stenographer? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I don't work in the courtroom. Uh,
Yeah.
so, oh, it must be so much fun. You look at babies all day.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not even registered in obstetrics.
Right. Right.
So much more to
Right.
learn when it comes to what is ultrasound and what
Right.
does a sonographer do.
Right.
And I think that's a great first step for
Yeah.
folks to be able to help increase safety in sonography. But I just want to be able to let folks know where those resources are, which there's so many great ones, but the ones that we have available for you, you can go to ultrasafeultrasounds.com. That'll point you in the direction of our educational content, our learning content, our social content, and you're able to check out our podcast, is Sonographers Spill the Tea, where we have extraordinary conversations just like this one for folks to be able to listen to in their car.
Yeah.
If you are in a soft tissue recovery space or a scar tissue rehabilitation space, it doesn't matter. We have really incredible resources on our learning platform to guide you through those cognitive movements so that you understand where you may be symptomatic if you're echo, where you may be symptomatic if you're maternal fetal medicine, where you
Yeah.
may be symptomatic in vascular or in general as well. So
Yeah.
there's great content there to kind of differentiate the muscle groups in
Awesome.
your sonographer shoulder. And
Yeah.
we always highly recommend the Ergomechanics course, where we take ergonomics and biomechanics. It is a 20 module course. It's about 15 hours long, but
Yeah.
I have got to tell you, it is comprehensive. So if
Awesome.
you really want the tea in
Yeah.
sonography, that's where you're going to want to make sure you get to. And
Awesome.
it's good for wherever you are in the industry. We've had global reviews that have just touched my
Awesome.
heart, because it matters in Australia, it
Yeah.
matters in England, it matters
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And so
That's
we're so
awesome.
proud of that. And thank
Yeah.
you for having us.
Thank
And
you.
we support great sonographers
Yeah.
and all that they are going to do to
Yeah.
continue to help perpetuate
Yeah.
great sonographers.
Yay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I hope I have you on again. And it was an honor to meet you and be able to talk about this information. And thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Lisa.
Yes, so thank you. I hope you guys learn and have a great time listening to this. And we will see you soon. Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.